Hi, welcome to Gear Garage. My name is Zach Collier, and this is my internet show about whitewater paddling, basically rafting, kayaking, supping, inner tubing, even creature crafting, which I got to try last week. And today I want to talk about personal flotation devices, or PFDs. People call them life jackets a lot. I think a better term for them is personal flotation devices. And when you're out on whitewater, these are just mandatory. This is a mandatory piece of equipment. And it's really important that we're wearing these. This is probably the single most important thing you'll do to be safe. You know, there's a lot of other factors, but wearing your PFD is sort of critical. And you'll see out there, especially on multi-day trips, some guides or some people not wearing PFDs. And you know, that's a personal choice they make. It's not a good idea. I mean, it's something we should always be wearing these things. And so I just want to point out that it's a big deal to wear them. They really do make the difference between floating and sinking. That little bit of flotation they provide is the difference between your head above water and not, especially in churning water. So enough about that. One other thing is PFDs over time degrade and they wear out. And these are things you should be replacing every few years. If your PFD looks old and tattered, I know it's a cool look. You look rad. It looks like you've been there, done that. But they don't float as much. And if you want to be seen as a professional or be seen as somebody who's like a really respected boater, you want to be wearing a newer life jacket. So anyway, there's a few I want to show you today. Some considerations you want to think about when looking at your own PFD. One is flotation. The more it floats, the higher you stay above water. Flotation is a really good thing, and you want to get as much as you get. But also, what matters is how comfortable you are and can swim in them. You know, your ability to aggressively swim to shore. You know, having something that's comfortable that fits where you can swim matters. So if you have to give up some flotation to get the ability to swim hard, that's something you might want to do, and it's something I've chosen to do. You also want something that looks good. You know, there's a variety of different looks out there that more and more these days they just look awesome, and having a variety of colors. I always choose black because I'm just hard on my stuff and I get it dirty, and black kind of gets rid of the dirt. But if you're not as hard on stuff, having like a beautiful deep green or a blue, something that pops, it's just cool to have your own unique look. So again, we want to look at flotation, swimmability, and just basically how they look. Those are big factors. So I want to show you a few different ones that I've tried over the years I really like. And the first one, this one's pretty simple. I'm going to go from simple to less simple today. And this is the Astral YTV. It basically goes over your head. And this is just a really simple PFD. I've used this for, you know, doing easy things where I maybe like supping on a lake. I use it in kayak polo, in a pool. I've used it on whitewater a bit. But I used it supping, and since there's not much protection here, I fell in some rocks and broke my ribs. And so I've decided that I want to have a PFD that has more protection on the side, especially when I'm supping. And it has little pockets here I put a knife inside of my pockets. I always carry a knife with me, and so I can put a knife in there. There it is. And I have a whistle attached, which I think is also important. But this is a pretty minimal PFD. This is for things where you might consider bringing nothing. It's really comfortable. It's really light. I've also used that when I've hiked in 5 miles to do a run. I've brought this too just because it's really light. So that's the Astral YTV. Again, if you're a real serious paddler, paddling class 3 or more whitewater, this shouldn't be your go-to vest. This should be like a backup for easy stuff. This is for like pretty minimal use, but it does have, the website does say it has 16.5 pounds of flotation, which surprises me for how thin and simple it is. But I don't know how they measure that, but it doesn't feel like a lot of flotation. So next here is Astral's green jacket. And this jacket, this is just a classic PFD. I mean, this is the one they've had for a while. It's sort of the culmination of everything they've done. It's an over-the-head jacket like the YTV, which a lot of people don't like. It's kind of a pain to put on these over-the-head jackets. I don't mind so much. You know, you have to be pretty flexible, and if you have a lot of stuff on, it's hard. But this is a great vest. It's comfortable. It looks good. Again, I like black, but it comes in some super cool colors. It's easy to swim in. It has 16.5 pounds of flotation again, so it has good flotation. The green jacket has the safety harness, and you know, those of you that have safety harnesses, they're good for kayaking if you're doing rescues. So if you're a professional kayak instructor or you're a safety kayaker, this is something you should have. It has this ring in the back you can clip onto. If you're a raft guide, you don't really need this. Now you might have heard of examples of people like attaching a rope to here and jumping in. It's called live bait. after people. That's something you do on like some Class 5 rivers. Even then it's rare. So I think the green jacket with the safety thing, it's one more thing to actually have to put on every time. You know, it's a little bit of a pain to properly get it through here. And also, if you're swimming under a log, it's one more thing to grab onto the log, right? And this hardware, this metal and plastic adds weight to the vest. So when we talk about buoyancy, this is 16.5 pounds of buoyancy. I'm not sure if they counted this, to be honest with you. Every one of these metal things makes the thing weigh more and weighs you down. So it actually makes you a little bit less safe because it's something they can grab, and this actually is a little bit of weight. So Astral makes what's called the blue jacket, this sort of sea kayaking oriented. The website says it has a little bit less flotation, which I don't understand. But for most of us, the blue jacket is probably a really good vest. Unless, again, like you're a professional and you need to do some sort of rescue. Or you're like a Class 5 kayaker and you use these rescue harnesses all the time. So this is a really nice vest. This has actually been my go-to vest. This is my favorite one in terms of comfort and just all-around use. And I'm sort of coming around to using this one all the time now. But next is Stolquist. They make the Stolquist Descent, and it's a vest I really like and I've used quite a bit. I really personally love the way this one fits. I think it's really comfortable, especially when I'm kayaking. It's over the head but a side zip, so it's a little bit easier to put on than the Astral one. You just basically put this on here and zip it up. This one also has a safety harness, and so it's the same thing. And I have on mine this side harness here that I use for pulling in kayakers. And so these things have two main uses. One is if you're kayaking and you need to take this off and clip it to a kayak and pull it to shore. And the thing is, if the kayak gets messed up, you can pull the harness and let it go. But it takes training and practice, so don't just throw this jacket on and do that. Or you can use this line to wrap through the PFD of an unconscious swimmer and then kayak them to shore. So this has rescue uses, and so I wouldn't always recommend this unless you're a professional training how to use it. And same thing with these rescue harnesses. You really want to be professional on how to use them. But other than that, I really like this vest. It has a nice little zipper pocket that's nice. I can keep my knife in there and some sunscreen. Going back to the Astral vest, it has the best pocket, right? You kind of open this big zipper up and it flaps down into like a shelf. I mean, this Astral wins the pocket wars. They have the best pocket, and that's the reason I probably like this jacket the most. But this pocket's adequate, and overall, it's just a really nice vest. This is the one I use when I'm professionally guiding in kayak, some sort of kayaking capacity, and I keep this one looking new, so I look professional, and I only use it for that. So I don't pull it out that often, and I don't like having this unless I'm paid to be like some sort of kayak guide. Because it does add another element of danger. One more thing to weigh down the vest, and also to potentially get caught on a piece of wood or just something in the river. So I don't wear this vest that often anymore. But they make a version without all this hardware. I think it's called the Rocker. No, I think this is the Rocker. No, it's the Rocker. I see it right here in my notes. And it actually, again, the Rocker has less flotation for some reason. I don't understand why. But again, this is a pretty sweet vest, and I highly recommend this one. And the next one Kokatat makes. Kokatat just makes awesome stuff, and it's the Kokatat Maximus. And the Maximus here, again, it's a side entry vest, so it goes over your head, and then has these buckles on the side that you put on. And this one doesn't have a safety harness, which I like, because it's just extra stuff, like I said. And it's just a really nice vest overall. It has really nice padding on the sides, so if you're to fall down, you'll have padding here. It has good flotation. It doesn't really. This is the extra large, and it has 18 pounds of flotation, which is more than those ones. But the smaller version has the same 16 or 17 pounds, depending on which one. And it's just a really nice PFD. I don't like kayaking with this one, so I don't personally think it's a good kayaking vest because it's sort of a lot up here that gets in the way when you're sitting down in a kayak. But if I want a supping vest or a rafting vest or something for high water, this is my go-to one. And I've used this one mostly for supping. So, yeah, I really like it again, but I'm not a big fan of this one for kayaking. But for rafters, if you just raft, that's the one I like the most. Especially because it doesn't have the safety harness. And then finally is just a good old customer PFD that we use for our rafting trips. This has 22 pounds of flotation, And one of the really defining things about it is it has this head thing in the back. So if it's still a pretty comfortable vest, and it actually works pretty well to swim in. But if you have somebody who's a swimmer who's going to be maybe a passive swimmer, they're just going to fall out and put their feet up, this is a good vest for that because it has 22 pounds of flotation, 5 or so more pounds than other vests, and it has this head flap in the back. So if they are an unconscious swimmer, this keeps their head above water. And so this is the best vest for somebody who might be a passive swimmer. This particular one that Extra Sport makes, and a lot of the modern ones, actually are pretty comfortable and pretty good for swimming. And so even if somebody's not a passive swimmer, this is a good vest with extra flotation. So that's a few of the vests out there. We talk a lot about Type 3 and Type 5 vests, and I don't totally understand the difference, but people refer to this as a Type 5, and that's true, this is a Type 5. I think what makes the difference, and I'm not totally sure about this, is some sort of safety extra thing. So in this case, it's Type 5 because of the head floaty. Because also, these safety vests with these safety harnesses are also technically Type 5, but they have low flotation. And so, just because it has more flotation isn't why it's Type 5. It's some sort of safety attachment. And so I think in general, Type 3 and Type 5 are generally the same, just with some sort of safety apparatus. But we do refer to the kayak or the smaller life jackets as Type 3 and the commercial type PFDs as Type 5, but I'm not really sure that's totally adequate. So anyway, that's some different PFDs. Again, I think that my go-to favorite is this Astral green jacket if I was to just choose one. I just really like the way it feels. It's comfortable for all sports, and this pocket is just really nice for putting a camera in, having your knife handy, sunscreen, just for ease of use. This is just a really nice PFD. So that's it for PFDs. If you have, maybe you like these or you don't, or there's a different one you like, please add some of that in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. And any discussion you want to have is just really fun for me. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.